Okay, I've put the Go 2 Insta360 Go 2 camera on, which is mounted on the handlebars. There's no wind today, so it's actually quite unusual for Scotland. So you should actually hear what I'm saying as I'm going along the trail here. So this is just the trail that returning from the Burma Road. Really lovely long trail, and there's a really nice circuit from Slough all the way up along the river Dalnain, and then you cross the Dalnain and head up the Burma Road to you're going up to about 700 metres, and at the col at the top of the Burma Road you get these amazing stunning views of the whole Cairngorm sort of plateau in front. It really just opens up the whole area, and you can see the mountains and the snow, and it's a beautiful viewpoint here. So I've been up there quite a few times, quite a few videos, hyperlapse videos, which some folk may have seen, some ones testing various cameras such as the DJI Action 2, which I've got some video later on today I'll upload. So I give you an idea, what the results you can get from some of these, cameras, and flying the drone and getting some more footage today. And that's been great because it cleared up, the sun came out late afternoon, and with the light being a bit lower, the video should be quite good. A nice shadows in it. So I look forward to actually seeing that. I've been using the drone to follow the bike right along, along the river, as the track goes alongside of the river, and I'm going to add that on to the footage I had going up the Burma Road, and the drone footage actually descending the Burma Road, which just absolutely amazing descent. So Burma Road descends from 700 metres, at the pass, down to Linwig at 250 metres. So it's 450 metres of descent, quite steep and loose. Really good fun. Often would go down there, on an ordinary mountain bike, but past few years I've been finding, getting older, the bumps and lumps have been really, quite uncomfortable in the wrists and shoulders and hips. So I decided to get this e-bike, Fat Tired e-bike. And a lot of people say with the Fat Tired e-bikes you don't need suspension or rear suspension, because basically the fat tires even it out. And they certainly do to a certain extent, but the kind of tracks I'm on all the time around here, estate tracks, are very much big potholes and boulders, and they're very rough. And I thought, try and get a full suspension bike if I could, but they're just way too expensive. You're talking about £5,000–7,000 for an e-bike, from some of the manufacturers for full suspension electric bikes. And this is when I came across the Shimano Fat Tired e-bike, and I was looking at the MX-02, which had front suspension but no rear suspension. And then round at the same time, I noticed that a new model was coming out with rear suspension. And the surprising thing was it was only about a few £100 more for the one with the rear suspension, and uprated components, sort of wires within the frame, metal alloy battery case, and hydraulic brakes, and so I thought, yeah, I'd do a bit of research, and eventually I got hold of the factory direct Shimilo, which is Shimilo Bikes, Shimilo-bikes.com, rather than some other agents in different countries which do sell the bikes, but you know, there's quite a hefty commission on top. So I contacted Factory Direct, and they send it. They said they could send it out to me, you know, and there would be no extra taxes or delivery charges. And living in the Highlands, you know, I'm used to being told I'll get an extra £50 delivery charge for you know, small items. It's only cost about 20 quid because we're in the Highlands and Islands, and so for something to get delivered from, you know, China with no extra delivery charges. And then there was a big problem with Brexit, where not only were we getting VAT added on, we were getting import taxes added on. You know, the carriers were adding their own charges on, and sometimes you were paying VAT twice. But Shimilo promised me that, you know, they'd get the bike to me at the price I paid, which, you know, and it included everything. There'd be no extras. So I was a bit dubious of that, but you know, anyway, I hit the button, paid by PayPal, so to be protected, you know, should things go wrong, because you never know with a lot of websites, especially, you know, dealing with ones abroad. And you know, once I paid, you know, got a lot of communication back, you know, status reports, and surprisingly they were really good English, rather than the usual you know, messages you get from, you know, Asia or even Europe, you know, which is sort of broken English. But you know, this communication was fantastic, and which reassured me a lot. And eventually the bike arrived, and yeah, when the bike arrived, I was blown away, because I wasn't expecting. I was expecting the bike, you know, I'd seen a lot of videos, people using it in roads, you know, in normal roads, but I hadn't seen much of, you know, off-road videos, and that's what I intended to use. I use it on the tracks here, a lot of tracks, a lot up and down, basically climbing mountains, mountain passes, and the really rough roads and off-road. It's all off-road, you know, mainly, rather than tarmac roads. So I thought, well, you know, it's cheap enough, we'll see how it goes. And I, you know, ended up using it in the winter. It was great in the snow with the fat tires, and so you know, this is now you know, beginning of April, May. It's May, yeah, that's in May. This is beginning of May. So I've had the bike about 6 months now, and it's been going great, you know. Up and down, you know, steep passes and all off road, you know, I'm easily getting 25 to 35 miles out of that. You know, I'm using a lot of, you know, pedaling, and I'm keeping the power assistance fairly low, so they get exercise from it. But you know, I've got no problem with you know, getting the distance out, as long as I don't just use it on throttle. A lot of folk have asked me about throttle and just using the throttle, and you know, what distance I get. Well, there's no point even doing that here, because you know, we're basically either up a hill or down a hill. Down a hill I'm going to get a lot further than normal. Up a hill I'm not going to get anywhere near the kind of distance. You know, and our steep hills, you know, are off road most of the time. So you know, it's the Highlands of Scotland. You know, we're not in Holland, or not going along coastal, you know, sort of beach waterfronts. You know, on an e-bike posing. We're up in the mountains. You know, rough terrain, difficult weather. through here.